Okay, so Nisha, so we're kind of in a situation where we're forced to really eat what's left in the cupboard. So what's the weirdest meal you've eaten so far in this lockdown?
Well, you know that ham you get in a tin?
Oh, you don't even need to say anything else. Just that ham in a tin is just, oh, why? Oh, God, I grew up on a council estate and even I'm just going, oh, fuck that. Well, mine was rice on toast. I'm not going to say that the 1870 Siege of Paris was all that funny, given that a lot of people died. What I am going to say, though, is that a bunch of rich people used their money and clout to have a bunch of elephants slaughtered, then ate them before complaining about how they tasted, which is just such a rich person thing to do.
So, first of all, 1870 Siege of Paris, what happened?
Food ran out. It's as simple as that. There was just no food anywhere, and many people were forced to make a lot of tough choices, usually between starving to death or eating a slice of fried rat. And people think I'm saying that for comedic effect. No, people ate and cooked rats. They hunted them down and ate them because there was no other food. And that goes hand in hand with a lot of other stories from like seizures, if you're familiar with these at all.
Not too clued up now.
Okay, well, cases where food literally just runs the fuck out. There are many, many stories that I think people will do in like their desperation, and the siege of Leningrad is a particularly harrowing example of what people will do when they run out of food. And there are stories from that of people going to bombed out sugar factories and sucking the dust off the floor because there was still sugar in it, getting books and taking peeling the paper off of books to eat the glue that was holding them onto the page, boiling shoes to make leather jelly, and all that good stuff. And like the same has been true throughout history of cases where food just runs out. That wasn't the case, though, for the especially wealthy denizens of 1870 Paris who were able to flash the cash to make food appear.
So yeah, before we move on, I have to bring it back to when you mentioned people eating rat for dinner, basically.
Nice slice of fried rat, that's what people would have. They'd go to local parks and just like pick the flowers up and eat those, the grass, that sort of thing. Just any source of sustenance they could find. That wasn't the case for rich people, as I mentioned, who, for several months during the start of the siege, ate 5-course gourmet meals. While, I should point out, the people of Paris who couldn't afford to do that were starving to death. That sounds awful and really like we're tone deaf for those rich people. And you think, oh man, rich people today would never be that stupid. Oh, we're in lockdown and you've got multi-millionaires singing Imagine, a song which contains the line, imagine if there were no possessions, from their giant 5-bedroom mansions to cheer up people who've lost their jobs.
Yeah, it's like you get pictures of celebs in like hot tubs in their gardens with like a glass of champagne saying, just stay at home, it's not hard. It's like... It's all right for you who've got all these possessions, you've got so much entertainment and so many things you can do and so much money. Like,
it's great.
You'd be fine just staying at home, whereas people who've like lost their jobs and are struggling to buy necessities and stuff like that.
Struggling to buy food, yeah. It's not exactly the same today, but like, it is comparable in like to a degree of just rich people completely ignoring what's happening because they've got so much money to throw at the problem. And it reminds me a lot of the film Land of the Dead, I think it is, if you've seen it.
No, I've not seen that one, no.
Okay, well, for people like Nisha who may not have seen the film, it's one of the Dead series. It's a film about zombie apocalypse. And the thrust of the film is, despite it being a literal zombie holocaust and the world is dead, there are still people who've got loads of money living in a giant skyscraper. And the story's about, there's still rich people despite the fact money now has no value because they had all the wealth before. And they still go shopping and they shop for diamonds and things like that. Or the film Snowpiercer, have you seen that?
No, I've not even heard of that.
Okay, well, watch it. I think it's on Netflix, it's really good. It stars Chris Evans as well. And a fun fact about this role, Chris Evans he's supposed to be playing a malnourished, almost skeletal person who's on the brink of death from starvation, but he filmed that film in between a Captain America film and an Avengers film, so he was super buff.
I was going to say he's going to be really hench then.
Yeah, so they make him wear really baggy jumpers and so that to hide how buff he is. And that goes hand in hand with the very end of Avengers. A fact we've talked about before. Do you know where Chris Evans is sat at the table where they're all eating shawarma?
Yeah.
He had to grow a beard for Snowpiercer, so what they did is they made him sit with his hand on his face to cover his beard.
Oh, really? Didn't even
so
notice.
he had to hide the beard in Avengers and then hide the body in Snowpiercer. Anyway, Snowpiercer is similar. It's a train that goes around the world, and again, it's a very obvious metaphor for society where, the people at the front of the train, the rich people, still party and drink and eat really fancy food. The people at the back of the train, in the slums, they literally eat cockroaches.
Nice.
They make these protein bars out of cockroaches and then feed them to the poor people at the back. And again, you watch that film and think, oh man, there'd never be a time where rich people would be like that fucking like obvious in like their disdain for the poorer people. You just look at what's happening now. It's so fucking bad. And then you've got, what is it like? Is it Jeff Bezos, like world's richest man, telling employees of Whole Food, yeah, just give your sick days to each other if you get coronavirus. It's like, why don't you fucking pay us?
What the fuck? He could afford to pay people.
Who's the guy who owns Sports Direct? Do you want he's doing one as well?
Oh, Mike Ashley.
Mike Ashley, well-known Bell End, telling people, yeah, we're an essential service, we need to stay open.
Yeah.
It's like, I will actively put...
I was not surprised, to be honest.
Isn't he
Because
a
I just
huge
know
prick?
how bad it is. It's just like not
Yeah.
surprising.
People don't like, Nisha used to work for Sports Direct, so she knows like how bad behind the scenes like some of their policies are in regards to we don't fucking care. And it's just so bad. And the other one that happened, this is in America, did you hear what happened with GameStop?
I think so.
Okay, people don't know, like, this is a great start. GameStop stayed open despite literal statewide shutdown, saying shut the fuck down now. And they said, no, we're an essential service, we sell entertainment. And some large donged hero of the internet got on a conference call with some executives and just recorded it and posted it online. And in that conference call, you can actually hear people saying, what happens if we get coronavirus in our store? And the executives going, well, it's a case-by-case basis. We're looking at everything day to day, but we can't really say anything right now. It's like, will you send us cleaning supplies? Well, it's a day-to-day thing. We're not really sure if you can send those out. Okay. And the line that just hits you right in the fucking soul, the one that makes you realise these people do not care, is when someone asks them, if somebody gets coronavirus and has to stay home, like, what do we do? Are you going to pay them? And this executive just says, well, if people choose not to come in, that's their choice and they won't be paid. And it's like, oh!
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
God. I can't believe some people. I just don't know what goes through their heads.
The line that says profit on it is just going down. And that's the only thing they give a shit about. And to bring it back to, the story of the 1870 Seizure Paris, and food literally ran out, right? After rich people who, like I said, were gorging themselves on 5-course meals every single day, while people below them were starving to death. Eventually, even the vast amounts of money they could throw at people wasn't enough to get them food. So what happened was, enterprising zookeepers, believe it or not, went, well, we've got a readily available supply of meat, pretty much the only meat left in the entire city. So what they did, rather than put the animals down as a sad last resort, is they killed them and butchered them for meat, which was then sold to the highest bidders.
Well, this sounds awful, and I'm assuming you've got some examples of what animals people ate.
Oh, I have, yes, and I'm presuming that as I'm talking right now, there'll be a list of some of the more, shall we say, exotic things on the menu during Paris. And I have a couple of favourites, and I'm just going to say what the dish's name was in French, Nisha, and see if you can guess what it was. So we have civet de kangaroo.
Well, I'm going to guess
what
kangaroo.
That is? Yeah. I don't know what civet de... I'm sorry, I don't speak French, so maybe I'm pronouncing that good, but just kangaroo. And I'd like to think it's like kangaroo on chips or something like that.
Kangaroo on toast.
Well,
and ciabatta bread.
Oh man, a bit of ciabatta bread. Is it ciabatta or is it ciabatta? I always forget.
I don't know.
Who gives a fuck? It's rich people food, who cares? And what are you going to have for lunch? You're going to have some fucking kangaroo on toast.
So yeah, the article mentions an elephant, so I'm going to guess people eat elephant as well.
Yeah, and the article title was kind of a misnomer because it wasn't just one elephant, Nisha, it was 2 elephants. Two very much beloved elephants from the Paris Zoo called Castor and Pollux, who were a staple of the zoo and a favourite of local French children who were butchered.
It makes it even worse.
It does make it worse, doesn't it? And I think as well, keep this in mind as I continue this story. They were butchered for meat and then sold to butcher shops, who then sold them at exorbitant prices to wealthy people around town who had the money to pay for the meat. And they put it on the menu, and they had their very expensive chefs turn it into food such as consommé du éléphant. And as if slaughtering 2 beloved elephant mascots from a zoo wasn't bad enough, the rich people who ate the elephants, reminds me, the only source of food in the entire city, had the cheek, the gall, to complain about how tough and tasteless the meat was.
If that's all that is left, you take it. You don't care what it tastes like. It's food. It gives you energy. It makes you live. You shouldn't care about the taste.
But Nisha, these are rich people. And rich people, obviously, they deserve better. and they were annoyed at the while people in the city were literally eating rats, they had the gall to complain that the elephant they had slaughtered for their food, so they could continue to dine on fancy ass food, tasted bad.
How dare they?
And the next time you hear someone say beggars can't be choosers, just remind them about the time rich people in 1870 had an elephant slaughtered, the only source of meat in the entire city, and then complain that it tasted bad. Fuck you, rich people. Swivel on that bastard.
When you mention eating fried rat, I just think of that scene from Shrek where they've got them rats on a stick and then they barbecue it and eat it. And the princess, Fiona, as when she's in human form, is eating it. She shouldn't give a shit. That's what I imagine it to be like.
Well, I imagine it is that scene from Demolition Man. If you've seen it where Sylvester Stallone goes into the sewers, and for people who don't remember Demolition Man, the point is that society has evolved to the point where everyone's just a huge bunch of pussers, so they don't eat fried food anymore. Fried food's illegal. And he goes into the sewer, the literal sewer, and there's someone cooking a burger. And he's like, oh my God, a burger? I want to try. I've not had a burger in 400 years for story reasons. And he takes a bite out of it, and Sandra Bullock goes, it's fine, just don't ask them where the meat came from. And he's lying. He's like, do you see any cows around here? And he goes to the person who cuts it and goes, what's this made of? And she goes, rat. And he goes, this is a rat burger? And he looks at the burger, looks back at the person, takes another bite and goes, that's damn good rat. That's some damn good rat burger right there.
When you said, I've not had a burger in about 400 years or whatever, or I've not had burgers in so long, it just reminds me of what everyone is feeling about McDonald's right now. It's I've not had a McDonald's burger in so long. That's the first thing I'm going to eat when lockdown is over.
Did you see, though, that headline that's making McDonald's shit itself, where, what's the generation below us called? We're millennials. Is it Zoomers?
Is it Gen Z or something?
I don't know. There's an official name for it somewhere. I presume it's in a fat bar now. But there was a survey of younger people, and it's have you ever eaten a Big Mac? And 2/3 went no.
What?
And McDonald's is just shitting itself. It's how do we market towards people who don't even give a fuck?
I think because more young people eating vegan and vegetarian options and stuff like that. That might be the reason why they're not interested in McDonald's or eating McDonald's. Oh man, the answer here is obvious. McDonald's needs to get some rat burgers on the menu. Did you see that story as well about the evil cannibal rats? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, jokes obviously globally there's less foot traffic nearly everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a headline of there's so much less foot traffic, which means people are dropping less food, which means that animals that scavenge from humans, like rats, now don't have one of their main sources of food. So there are gangs of cannibal rats eating each other in the subways. But obviously only the strongest, biggest rats will survive. So when the world returns to normal, we're going to have to compete with giant cannibal rats.
Oh no, I think one of my favourite memes I've seen so far about how there's less pollution in the air. Someone put a meme saying you can now see the Universal logo outside.
I like that one of it's day 20 of quarantine. It's dolphins have been seen in Venice. Day 40, and it's just Jesus riding a woolly mammoth. Just everything's coming back. There's just something universal about just that gut reaction of fuck rich people right now. It's shut the fuck up. We don't care what you have to say.
Yeah.
The recording videos, the Imagine one, it sets your teeth on edge with how cringy it is. Or because the Daily Mail is absolutely floundering, so there's no celebrity news because celebrities aren't doing anything. It's oh look, this celebrity's not wearing makeup. It's who gives a fuck? I haven't got a job.
There's one that made me laugh. Did you see the thing where the cast of High School Musical got back together to sing? Via video chat. And then Zac Efron didn't join in, and people were why isn't Zac Efron there? And he said he had bad Wi-Fi where he was. I'm what the fuck?
Zac Efron will have the best Wi-Fi in the world. It's he just doesn't want to do it. Do you know what I see there? I see people desperately clinging to their last glimmers of fame. Because they realise if they can't go out and they can't be in the rags, the tabloids, from just they went to a nightclub and got pictures stumbling out of it. Here is some buzz for a week. It's they can't do that anymore. So, oh God, no. What do we do? Let's get back together on Skype. Has anyone got Zach's number? No, he deleted it ages ago. He's too busy Skyping with The Rock.